Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nibrita Tarsair Upagiyamanad Avo Sadach Chotramano Bhiramat Ka Utamashloka Gunanuvadat Puman virajeta vina pasugnat Nivritta tharsair ukamiyamanat Bhavo sadach chotramano bhiramat Ka utamashloka gunanuvadat Puman virajeta vina pasugnat Nivritta tharshar upagiyamanat Bhavo sadach chotramano bhiramat Ka utamashloka gunavunadat Puman virajeta vina pasugnat Nivritta, released from tarashai, lust or material activities, upagiya, manat, which is described or sung, bhava oshadhat, which is the right medicine for the material disease, shrotra, the process of oral reception, manaha, the subject matter of thought for the mind, abhiramat, from the pleasing vibrations from such glorification, ka, who, uttama shloka, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, guna anubhadat, from describing such activities, puman, a person, virajeta, can keep himself aloof, vina, except, pashugnat, either a butcher or one who is killing his own personal existence. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, It is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In India, it is the practice among the general populace to hear about Krishna, either from Bhagavad Gita or from Srimad Bhagavatam, in order to gain relief from the disease of repeated birth and death. Although India is now fallen, when there is a message that someone will speak about Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands of people still gather to hear. This verse indicates, however, that such recitation of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam must be completely freed from material desires. Nivrita tarshai. Everyone within this material world, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant, is full of material desires for sense enjoyment. And everyone is busy in sense gratification. But when thus engaged, one cannot fully understand the value of Krishna Katha, either in the form of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. If we hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from liberated persons, this hearing will certainly free us from the bondage of material activities. But hearing Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by a professional reciter cannot actually help us achieve liberation. Krishna Katha is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he himself explains, Matta parataram nanyat kinchirasti dhananjaya. O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Simply by understanding this fact, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become a liberated person. Om Bhagyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutha Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunathan Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahakana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindabaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, wherein it is explained that hearing and chanting the names, the qualities, the pastimes, glories of Lord Krishna is the most powerful and perfect medicine to cure us from the very disease that is the source of all suffering, material illusion. That illusion where we forget that we are eternally a part of Krishna. We are eternal servants of Krishna. That our true nature is to taste forever ecstatic love for Krishna. That love for Krishna is experienced to the extent that we have no selfish desires. Samsiddhir Haritoshana. That our life, our soul, our body, our mind, our words are all dedicated to giving pleasure to Krishna. That is the true meaning of being a servant. That service is most pleasing to Krishna within this material world when we inspire others to love Krishna. Because Krishna is Karuna Sindhu. He's a limitless ocean of mercy. Karuna is compassion. Krishna is the father, the mother, Aham Bija of all living beings. He feels compassion for everyone. Therefore, he situates himself as the Paramatma, personally seated in the heart of every living being, eagerly waiting for that person to turn to him for direction, for service. Krishna manifests as the spiritual masters, as the Vaishnavas, as the scriptures. To help us to hear the voice of the Paramatma, the Lord within our hearts. And Krishna personally descends into this world for that purpose. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyutanama dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami shuke shuke. Age after age, Krishna, who is so merciful, descends from the spiritual world where he is the supreme enjoyer with his limitless devotees. Krishna's Rasa Bihari, as Gopinath, is forever enjoying transcendental pastimes in the spiritual world of Goloka, far beyond this material existence, within the spiritual sky. Krishna's eternal residence with Sri Radha and all of the associates of Krishna who are forever happy because they're all sharing Krishna with each other. When we put Krishna in the center of our life, when we put Krishna in the center of our relationships, then we can actually experience Krishna. Otherwise, it's only an imagination. That's the very essence of tapasya. Our acharyas teach true tapasya is not just to what extent we could fast or give up sleep, renounce possessions. All of these things are meant to help us to put Krishna in the center of our life. But what that means is we have to take our own selfish desires out of the center of our life. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, proprietor, and controller of everything that exists forever. When we put our will, when we think I am the knower, and we're putting ourselves in Krishna's place. Why is that a problem? Because it's artificial. It's superficial. It's simply an illusion. In that state, under the influence of the ahankara, the false ego, we think I am this body and I am the proprietor of whatever is in connection to this body. I and mine. Therefore, we're desperately trying to find the nature of our soul, the ecstasy of love of Krishna, in the temporary, fleeting things of this world. And in the process, we become so frustrated. We come under the influence of lust and then anger. We become envious, greedy, arrogant. Think this desperate need to think I'm great, and filled with illusion. As we actually begin to taste the sweetness of bhakti, we see these things for what they are. They're petty, they're insignificant, and according to Gita, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, they're all sources of misery. At our Bhaktivedanta hospital, when somebody comes with a very, very dangerous terminal disease, If that person starts boasting to others, just see my disease. My disease is more acute than your disease. I have malaria, and you have malaria. Your temperature's only 102. My temperature is 104. Does that sound ridiculous? That's material life. I have more money, I have more power, I have more fame, I have more prestige. I'm getting more sensual enjoyment than you. Everyone's competing to increase their temperature more than others. Thinking that's what happiness is. That's illusion. A devotee sees it as an illusion. We don't want to increase this disease that's killing the very nature of the soul. We want to take medicine that's going to cure us of the disease. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself came to this world. Enechi asadi maya nashi boralagi harina mahamantra lao tumi magi. I have the medicine that will cure your disease. Remember Krishna. And it's so easy. Chant his holy names.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
I was recently listening to a recorded lecture of Srila Prabhupada. And he was talking about opening hospitals. It was spoken in 1976 during a Srimad Bhagavatam class to the whole of ISKCON in Mayapur Dham during the festival at Gaur Purnima. Srila Prabhupada said to open hospital is all right if we make people Krishna conscious. If we understand that the real disease that people are having, and he was explaining how our devotees are going to hospitals and by giving, people are reading our books and hearing the holy names and they are becoming Krishna conscious as their temporary disease is being treated, the real disease of the heart is being cured. Bhaktivedanta Hospital, its principal aim is to cure people from ever taking birth again in this material world. And everything else is helping to harmonize that facility. In today's verse, we are reading how the medicine that is the greatest need within this world today for the real disease that people are suffering of illusion, ignorance, forgetfulness, the cause of all suffering, the cause of the illusion of death, is to hear and chant the glorification of the Supreme Lord. So when Krishna comes to this world, as he explains in Bhagavad Gita, he comes to annihilate the asuras, the miscreants, to protect the pious, and to re-establish the true principles of religion. Yuge, yuge. He comes again and again for this purpose. And there are many avatars. Srimad Bhagavatam declares that within this ocean of material existence, the Lord comes again and again in so many avatars. But once in a day of Brahma, that's once in over 8 billion years. the Supreme Lord personally comes in his original transcendental complete form of Krishna. He comes in this particular avatar. And he fulfills the purpose of all other avatars. Every day in Vrindavan he's killing demons. In Mathura, in Dwarka. Incredible. He's protecting the pious. He speaks Bhagavad Gita to re-establish the true principles of Dharma. But in this particular avatar, which is so rare and so special, he performs his pastimes in Vrindavan to attract our hearts. The very name Krishna means all attractive. Nam Nama Kari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed, that my Lord, you have many names. Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas explained that Krishna is none different than all of his true names. But the name Krishna is very central within the Vedic literatures because it includes all other names. All the greatness, all the qualities of the Supreme Absolute Truth together make him all attractive. He's powerful, beautiful, all-knowing, the creator, the maintainer, the annihilator of everything. But the quality that is above all others is that he's all attractive. He's the supreme object of every soul's love. He's the supreme lover from whom all love emanates through his Hladini Shakti Shri Radha. Krishna's pastimes, where the supreme truth shows the most intimate of all secrets, how he is controlled by the love of his devotee. How he makes himself subordinate to the love of his devotee. When Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, there was the residents of Vrindavan, of Mathura, of Dwarka. But he established his pastimes. And through the mouth of Shukadev Goswami and other such great sages and rishis, through Vedavyas, the compiler of Vedic literatures, and through the hearts of great souls like Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. He has revealed his pastimes to the world. And those pastimes are forever. Krishna is so merciful. The spirit soul, the Jivatma, is 1/10,000th the size of a tip of a hair when the spirit soul comes under material captivation. But how that little particle, which is not even material at all, has so much potency. Just look at the city of Bombay. Just these little Jivatmas have built this whole city. And they're building bombs, and they're building science, and so many things. We're so small. But Krishna, the source of everything, Krishna is like the sun planet, the Jivatma is like a tiny little individual sun ray. Yet Krishna makes himself subordinate to the love and the devotion of his devotee. That is Vrindavan. And it has been revealed for all time. Krishna makes, if Krishna can perform so many incredible, inconceivable activities that we could sensually perceive right in this universe around us and within us, Krishna could do anything. And one of the things he does is he is personally present with all of his potencies, with all of his beauty, with all of his sweetness, within the transcendental sound vibration of his holy names. And also, he enacts his pastimes through the sound vibration of those pastimes. When we read Krishna's Leelas, when we hear about them from authorized sources in Parampara, then Krishna's present. To the degree we become absorbed with a pure heart, we're actually in that pastime. At the same time, our hearts become purified simply by hearing those pastimes with a sincere intent. Yayatamam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyaham. As we surrender to Krishna, Krishna reveals himself accordingly. We may not be so pure, we may not be so advanced, but at whatever level we're on, surrender means we're sincerely trying. We're sincerely trying to put our false ego aside and be the servant of the servant of the servant. We're sincerely trying to put the order, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada, of our spiritual masters, of Srila Prabhupada, of his representatives, of the previous acharyas. We're trying to put their order as our life and soul, above the whims of our mind, above the dictations of our senses. If we're honestly, earnestly trying, that's surrender. If we understand that I can't do it, doesn't matter how much I know or how much I could do or how many people I can influence, it's only by the mercy of Krishna that I can overcome this illusion. The Vishwamitra Muni, he was the most powerful king and warrior in the world. And ultimately he was defeated by Vasishta, who was just a simple Brahmin. And then he became a Brahmin, and he became so powerful in his tapasya. He can create a child like fruit in a tree. But ultimately he was defeated again and again until he surrendered. I know nothing. I am nothing. Krishna save me. So whoever we are, wherever we are, whatever we can do, to surrender means to accept that I'm fallen. Narottam Das Thakur prayed to Lord Chaitanya, you are the deliverer of the most fallen, Patita Pavana. And because I'm the most fallen among all the fallen, please save me too. To the degree we actually think like that, we're making advancement. To surrender to Krishna is to completely take shelter of the higher power of Krishna's grace. Coming through the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Krishna within our heart. And to the degree we actually surrender like that, Krishna reveals himself. When we hear Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaking directly to us. When we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we're in Vrindavan, watching Krishna dance on Kaliya. Through sound vibration, we're there, seeing Krishna swallowing a forest fire. When we make advancement to the point that our ego is completely purified and we're totally surrendered to Krishna. And we can actually be a participant in Krishna's Leela, simply by hearing. Of all the avatars of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna in Vrindavan is most full. All other aspects of, all other incarnations who are none different than Krishna, they reveal only certain of the opulences of Krishna. Krishna Swayam Bhagavan. He reveals all of his opulences in full. How special is Krishna? In Vrindavan there is a place not far from Yamuna river, Bailvan or Bilvavan. Krishna, Balaram and the Gopas, they would play there because there were trees that had very nice fruits called Bail fruits or Bilva fruits. And Krishna, of course, Krishna is the source of everything that exists. Everything here is by Krishna's arrangement. But yet as a cowherd boy with his friends, they want to play with the fruits. So how to get the fruits? Because they're high up in a tree. So Krishna and Balaram, they teach the other gopas how to get the fruits. They take stones and they throw them at the fruit to try to get the fruits to fall. And if somehow or other the fruits are not falling, then they tie the stone with rope. And they throw the stone and they do it in such a way that the rope winds around the fruit and then they pull it and the fruit comes down. And the fruits are shaped like balls. Then they play with those balls. They're playing and playing and playing. So much they're playing. They're playing so happily. So many games. Sometimes leaping like frogs. Sometimes dancing like peacocks. Sometimes jumping like monkeys. Sometimes swimming like fish. Sometimes pretending to fly like the birds. Sometimes going to the lakes and seeing their reflections and chastising the reflections and laughing at them. Sometimes shouting in a well and chastising with harsh words the echoes of the well. Having arguments with the echo. Sometimes jumping on each other's shoulders, wrestling. This is the supreme truth. And Krishna is especially fond of losing the match when he wrestles. It's like a father. Father wrestles with a tiny little 3-year-old son. The son says, "I'm going to beat you," and the father says, "I'm going to beat you." and they wrestle. If the father wants, he could definitely beat the son within a moment. But what pleasure is that? But when the father actually is defeated, then the son is so happy, tells the whole world, I beat my father, and the father is so happy he wants to tell the world, my son beat me. So in the same way, Krishna wrestles with Sridham, and Sridham wins. And Krishna has to carry Sridham on his shoulder, which is the official way of proclaiming to the whole society, I lost. Sridhama won. That is Vrindavan. So in that same little forest of Bilvavan, where Krishna would perform these wonderful pastimes, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, the supreme eternal consort of Narayan, the supreme truth, who was worshipped in so many temples, who is living forever in Vaikuntha. Narayan's expansion, Mahavishnu, creates the cosmic manifestation. Narayan's expansion of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, resides as the supersoul within every universe. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, he lives in Svetadweep, a specific planet in each universe, and is the Lord of the heart of every living being, and expands himself in the atoms. In this way, he's all-pervading. The eternal consort of Narayan, Lakshmi. When she heard from Narada Muni about the pastimes of Krishna, she wanted to enter Krishna's pastimes. She left Vaikuntha because she wanted to enter into the Ras Lila. Because Lakshmi has conjugal love. She's the Lord's consort. There in Bilvavan, she performed tapasya. Because even Lakshmi can't just enter into Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. You and me were thinking, I'll take the August Kranti train from Mumbai railway station, and then I will go to Mathura. And maybe I'll walk, just to show everyone how austere I could be. Or maybe to purify my own life, I'll walk along the bank of Yamuna. Or others may take a rickshaw, or a tanga, or a taxi. Or some may have a friend who picks them up in a car. And then we enter into Vrindavan and we think, I am in Vrindavan. Physically you're in Vrindavan. But you can only yeyatamam prabhadyante. The holy Dham is an expansion of Krishna. It's supervised by Brinda Devi, Yogamaya, Balaram, Radharani. According to our consciousness, we can experience Vrindavan, not just by physical proximity. Srila Prabhupada tells us, Akrura, he was praying to Krishna with such intense humility while he was traveling to Vrindavan. When he saw the footprints of Krishna Balaram in the dust of Vrindavan, he fell down and rolled in that dust and was weeping tears, feeling himself so fallen, but so grateful. Totally fixing his mind with a grateful heart on Krishna, remembering Krishna, chanting Krishna's names and glories with his tongue and with his heart and mind. That mood of service. He was going exclusively for the service of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada quotes his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, don't try to see Krishna. Try to serve Krishna in such a way that he is pleased to see you. That's all. Bhakti is that simple. So the Dham is Krishna. And we can only experience according to how Krishna in the Dham reveals, according to our mood of surrender. So this is a truth we can especially learn from this story. Lakshmi didn't try to just take a taxi to Vrindavan. She doesn't need. Just by her wish, she could be anywhere, everywhere. She's the Hladini Shakti of the Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead. But to enter into the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, across the Yamuna where he was performing the Ras Lila, Lakshmi was willing to leave Vaikuntha, to come to the material world. Material world is a place of so much illusion and so much suffering. And the earth planet. Why would she leave Vaikuntha? The spiritual world eternally. And leave Narayan. Because she wanted to serve Krishna like the gopis serve Krishna. Because Krishna is just so attractive. He's so beautiful. How he plays his flute, Murlidhar. The beauty of his body, Shamsundar. The loving relationships he has with his devotees, Gopinath. The wonderful qualities in Krishna, in his supreme abode of Sri Vrindavan. That was something infinitely beyond what she was even experiencing in Vaikuntha. So Lakshmi performed tapasya for a long time. And she's still there. Because she's not, by Krishna's own arrangement, it's a lila. For her to enter into the Ras Lila, she would have to leave behind her role as the goddess of fortune. She would have to follow in the footsteps of the gopis. That means milking cows, making cow dung patties. That was even beyond her. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's giving all of us the opportunity for what Lakshmi is praying for. The Panchatattva broke open the storehouse of love of God as the residents of Vrindavan are experienced. They tasted it through kirtan, through chanting, through dancing, through Hari Katha, through seva. And they're distributing the contents, not considering who is fit or who is unfit, which place is proper or which place is improper. Anyone who's willing to receive with an open heart and follow these simple teachings. Follow through our actions, our words, and our intent. Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Sri Radha, gives that entrance into the holy land of Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. Lakshmi is longing for the Vrindavan Lila. And Lord Shiva, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, He has his own spiritual planets, Sadashiva, Maheshloka. He's Vishwanath. He's the Lord of the entire universe. Even he, after hearing the pastimes of Krishna and gopis from Yogamaya, he wanted to enter into the Ras Lila. It's not a cheap thing. It's the most exalted thing. So Yogamaya told him that you should go to Mansarovar. During the Ras Lila of Sri Krishna, Sri Radharani, for Krishna's pleasure, left the Rasa dance. And Krishna left all gopis to find her. And ultimately Krishna left her. And she went to a particular secluded place. And she cried in angry separation from Krishna. And filled that lake with the tears of her love. Lord Shiva went to Mansarovar and he took his bath there. He entered the lake as Mahadev. He came out of the lake as Gopeshwar Mahadev. He had the form of a gopi, a female body. And in this gopi bhava, gopi rupa, he came to the Rasa Lila and Krishna greeted him and gave him the seva of guarding the Ras Lila. No one can enter Ras Lila unless they are blessed by Lord Shiva in the form of a gopi. And the place where he's standing forever is a temple established by Krishna's great-grandson, Vajranabha, of the name Gopeshwar Mahadev Temple. Lord Brahma, during Brahma Vimohan Lila, he tried to trick Krishna to show his powers. And when Krishna, in such an intimate way, incredible, Krishna expanded himself as all the cows and all the calves and all the gopas after Brahma stole them. After a year, Brahma came back and saw that they were still there. He was bewildered. Then Krishna manifested each one of those calves, little calves, and each gopa as Narayan, the Lord of Vaikuntha with 4 arms. And around each one was all the demigods, the modes of material nature, all the elements of material nature, all living entities. Brahma was seeing this. Now to bewilder Brahma, no one but Krishna can do it. He was totally bewildered. He was absolutely stunned. And then, when it came to a point beyond limits, his bewilderment, everything disappeared, and there was little Krishna standing with Krishna's surprise, some yogurt and some fruit and rice in his hand. And he looked so innocent. He was looking to try to find his calves and his friends. When Brahma saw that, he completely shut down. His mind went blank. His senses completely blank. He couldn't even see anymore. And then when he came to his senses again and he saw Krishna standing there, he surrendered his heart. He surrendered his life. He realized that in the darkness of ignorance I thought that I'm great. Because I happen to be the father of everyone in the universe. I happen to have created all the universe. I happen to be able to see everything all the time with my heads. He happens to live 311 trillion years by our standards. And what do we live? If you had a lifespan of 311 trillion years and you met someone who lives a mere 80 or 90 years, you would obviously feel superior to them. So, Brahma, that's Brahma. Like a little firefly at night, they make light. You've seen? In the darkness, the light seems a lot. And because their eyes are so insignificant, all they see is the limits of where their light goes. So they think they're lighting up the universe. Because as far as their eyes could see, it's all lit up because of me. And then when they turn it off, it's darkness. Then they turn it on, it's light. So in darkness, the firefly can think, I'm really great. But when the sun comes out at noon, the firefly doesn't make any difference at all. Compared to the sun, insignificant. And what is the sun? It's just a tiny little reflection of Krishna's supreme energy. Krishna's light. The Brahma Jyoti, the infinite light of the spiritual world, of the spiritual sky, is just the glow coming from the body of Krishna. And the sun is just a fraction of a little reflection of that. And Brahma realizes, compared to Krishna, I'm a little firefly. Not only is the firefly insignificant, but all the light that the firefly has is ultimately coming from the sun too. He truly surrendered. And he was so grateful to the Brijbasis. He could appreciate so profoundly how fortunate they are. Because of that state of consciousness, he actually saw Vrindavan. Previously, he saw Vrindavan as a beautiful place where everyone's playing with Krishna. But now that he surrendered his heart, he saw every tree as a Kalpavriksha tree. Every cow as a Kamadhenu Surabhi cow. He saw all the residents as the supreme, most fortunate, liberated personalities. He saw every grain of dust as Chintamani, more valuable than all the jewels. All the wealth of Brahmaloka and the rest of creation are not equal in value to a grain of dust in Vrindavan. How is that? By our calculation, this is not an exaggeration. Because if we have faith in that dust of Vrindavan, through that faith in that piece of dust, the supreme treasure of prema bhakti can awaken in our heart. If you have faith in all the jewels of this universe, or Brahmaloka, or all the wealth of the heavenly worlds, love of God cannot awaken by that faith. So which is more valuable? This is what Brahma is saying. Indra. He thought he was great because he is great. You know, if an ant sees a frog, the ant thinks, this frog is really great. But compared to a human, the frog is very small, insignificant. And compared to a demigod, we are totally insignificant. And the king of the demigods is Indra. And we know the story when he sent that Samvartaka cloud and inundate Vrindavan with deluge of rain that can flood a major portion of the whole universe. 7-year-old little Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill with the tip of the little finger of his left hand. And Indra, in 7 days, sending hurricanes and cyclones and tornadoes and all the wind gods, and he couldn't move a single leaf from a tree. He could not uproot a single blade of grass. And all the animals on Govardhan Hill, they were happy. He couldn't even disturb them. It is described, a lion on Govardhan Hill, he was right up there on top with all the rains and all the winds, but because Krishna was touching Govardhan Hill with the tip of his little finger, he was giving so much pleasure to everyone that nothing Indra could do could hurt them. The lion just looked up toward where Indra was and roared, like, "Who are you?" And even the deers, they didn't roar. They just were eating the grasses. They couldn't care less. How Krishna humbled Brahma and Indra. And Indra came down to... He was so ashamed of what he did. Because he's a devotee. And sometimes devotees get illusioned. Sometimes devotees become trapped by Maya, especially due to the ego. So he went to his guru, "What should I do? I made a big offense." Guru said, "Brihaspati, you are a fool. You should go to Brahma." He went to Brahma. "What should I do?" Brahma said, "You are a fool." So gurus are supposed to teach us what we're supposed to learn. And he said, you should go to only a person who is very dear to Krishna can approach him on your behalf. Krishna's Govinda. He's very dear to the cows. So he went to the planet of Surabhi, the mother of the cows. And Surabhi went to Krishna with Indra behind her and said, "Please forgive him." Narada Muni, he's born of Brahma directly. Vishnu instructs Brahma, "Tene Brahma Hridaya Adakabaye." Brahma instructs his son Narada, who instructs Vyasadeva, who writes down all the Vedic literatures for us, culminating on Srimad Bhagavatam. Narada Muni, so many histories. He's in Ram's Leela. Practically every scripture, Narada Muni has a very special place. In the Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana. Narada Muni heard the glories of the gopis from Brinda Devi. And He wanted so much to participate in being the servant of Srimati Radharani as a gopi for the pleasure of Krishna. He went to Brahma, his guru, and received a mantra from his guru. Then he went to a place called Narada Kund near Govardhan and performed tapasya for a long time, chanting that mantra. In Purnamasi, the Yogamaya potency of Sri Krishna, who forever resides in Vrindavan, she took Narada to Kusum Srovar. On the banks of Kusum Srovar is Pushpavan, where Sri Radha and her most close gopis, Lalita, Visakha, and others, they would collect flowers. Such fragrant, beautiful flowers. To make garlands and other offerings, where they would go to Radha Kund and offer loving service with those flowers to Krishna. So Narada Muni submerged his divine body in Kusum Sarovar, and when he emerged, he had the form of Gopi, Naradiya Gopi. And he was given the service of rendering loving service as the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis of Sri Radha. Uddhava. In Dwarka, everyone exalted Uddhava the most. Ugrasena was king, but Uddhava, the cousin brother of Krishna, was so close to Krishna. They would lay down together. They would sit together. They would walk together. They would play together. They would discuss so many subjects together. Krishna would reveal his heart to Uddhava and even ask Uddhava for advice. Out of his supreme mercy to Uddhava, Krishna sent him to Vrindavan to give a message to the gopas and the gopis. And when Uddhava saw the nature of the pure, intimate love that they had for Krishna in separation, he knew when he would return to Mathura, he would be with Krishna practically day and night. And here are these devotees who are away from Krishna for years, but he considered them the most fortunate because of the nature of their love. He prayed. He prayed to Krishna, let me just be a little plant that's on the ground of Vrindavan near Govardhan, so that the gopas, the gopis, the calves, the cows, the peacocks, they will all put their feet on my head. And in this way I will be serving them all. And by their blessings I can get a trace of their love for you. This was Uddhava's appreciation of the Vrindavan Leela. Kamadev. I don't have to explain how he affects each and every one of us. He's the source of all these desires that we have, especially lusty desires. But name and fame and all these things are lusty desires, whether they're gross or subtle. Kamadev's such a controller. His energy. And he has his bow and his arrow. And his arrows are shooting everywhere. So he wanted to test Krishna. there's a place called Madan Tera. It's just on the bank of the Yamuna River, even today in Sri Vrindavan Dham. And even the demigods, he's conquering with his arrows. So here's little Krishna crawling around as a little baby, getting all muddy from the dust of Vrindavan. And now he's playing with his friends. He's dancing with gopis. He took his most powerful of all arrows and aimed it, about to shoot it into Krishna. But when he saw Krishna, because in order to aim you have to be looking at your target. When he saw Krishna, Krishna's beauty, Sham Sundar, captivated him to such an extent. Madan is bewildering everyone from the highest planet to the lowest within this universe and the whole cosmic manifestation. But when he saw the form of Krishna, so beautiful, so wonderful, he was completely attracted. Madan Mohan. Krishna didn't even do anything, he just was present. And he bewildered the mind of Kamadev, Cupid, who actually right on the spot dropped his bow, dropped his arrow, and fell unconscious. And as we said, the whole Brahma Jyoti, so many great scholars and so many great aesthetics through the yoga system for many, many lifetimes, their aim is to just be a little particle entering into the Brahma Jyoti. And the Brahma Jyoti is just the effulgence, the glow of the body of Govinda. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. We read in Srimad Bhagavatam, even Mahavishnu wants to see Krishna. And at Paita, near Govardhan, when Krishna was hiding from gopis during their Ras Leela, he was standing there, he was sitting actually, and gopis came to him, so to disguise himself, he took the form of Narayan. Actually Narayan. This is amazing. He was actually Narayan with the full-fledged opulences of Narayan. 4 arms, holding all of these symbols of Narayan. And the gopis saw him. What would you and me if Narayan was actually right? Very awesome. They bowed down to Narayan and only had one question. Did you see where Krishna went? Narayan's 4 arms that way. They bowed down again and ran to find Krishna. This is Vrindavan. And when Srimati Radharani came to Narayan, she asked, where is Krishna? He tried to do the same thing, but in the presence of her love, 2 of his arms fell off. They didn't exactly fell off, they just disappeared. And he could not be anyone but Krishna, conquered by the love of his devotee. So as we hear about Krishna's appearance in this world, let us appreciate who is Krishna. He has appeared on Janmashtami especially to attract our hearts. And as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna has given the ultimate emphasis on remembering Krishna as the son of Nanda, Sri Nanda Nandana, Yashodananda in Vrindavan. But following in the footsteps of the great souls, not cheaply. We can't just become a gopi or a gopa. We could imagine it, but that doesn't even bring us much closer. It's through our surrender. It's through truly purifying ourselves through our service as the servant of the servant of the servant, and by truly purifying ourselves by eagerness to hear about Krishna and to chant his holy names. Satatam kirtayanto mam, Krishna says, always chant my names. Man manabhavamad bhakto, always remember me. Are we able to do that? Kirtaniya sadahari, constantly chanting Krishna's names. We could chant, but we're thinking so many things sometimes. And then we're doing, are we constantly chanting Krishna's names? That's only possible by Krishna's grace. Trinadapi sunichena turor ibase hishnuna amani namana dena kirtaniya sadhari. That grace comes to us when we're truly aspiring to be even more humble than a blade of grass, even more forgiving and tolerant than a tree, devoid of any sense of false prestige, eager to appreciate and give respect to others, and not expect it or demand it ourselves. When we're truly valuing this character as our goal, then Krishna reveals himself in his holy names, and we could chant constantly. So in this spirit, let us discuss Janmashtami. Sukadeva Goswami begins the 10th Canto. It was a time in this world where there was such demoniac people who were exploiting, filled with arrogance and envy and lust and greed, always angry at anything that got in their way from enjoying being controllers and proprietors. And they took the roles, many of them, as kings. It was a terrible situation. Those innocent people were so much being exploited. The resources, the environment of Mother Earth was being polluted and exploited by these people. So Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth herself, she approached Lord Brahma, taking the form of a cow. And she pleaded her condition. How her innocent children are being exploited, and how all of her resources are being selfishly manipulated. And these demoniac kings and everybody else, they were constantly having wars and fighting against each other over who's the proprietor, who's the controller, who's the enjoyer. She was crying, incessantly crying. She was in so much pain due to her compassion for all others. And she prayed to Brahma to help. Brahma took Bhumi Devi to the shore of the ocean of milk. Along with them, the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva. At the banks of the ocean of milk, they faced toward the island where Kshirodakshayi Vishnu resides, called Svetadweep. And they offered their prayers, especially Purusha Shukta, which is a prayer that the Devatas pray to invoke the Lord's compassion upon them and all the world. They offered their prayers, they performed their pujas, they prayed, but nothing happened. Then Lord Brahma, the original guru, he sat down in meditation. In a mood of compassion to Bhumi Devi and all of her children, Lord Brahma meditated on Vishnu. Prayerful meditation. Brahma heard a message. Then he shared the message with all the demigods. The message was that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to appear, take birth within the world, within the Yadu dynasty. And he is directing all the demigods to prepare for his arrival and to assist him in his pastimes, to appear within the Yadu dynasty. And Baladev, his first expansion, will also appear to perform their leelas. After proclaiming this message, Brahma went back to his abode. Srimad Bhagavatam describes that Surasena was the king of Mathura. And he was the leader of the Yadu dynasty. And he had a son named Vasudeva. Vasudeva married the daughter of Devaki. And during their marriage, it was so auspicious. Devaka gave so much charity and so much gifts to Vasudeva's family. It was glorious. The son of the king was getting married. The previous king. The son of Ugrasena, who was then acting as the king of the Yadu dynasty. Kamsa. He was so affectionate toward his sister, in his own way. He wanted to make her happy. And according to the tradition, because the bride is leaving her home, she's going to her husband's house, so she's going to feel a little uncomfortable. So the brother actually escorts her so she can feel very nice. And Devaka gave in charity also so many, her friends went with her. There was such a sensitivity in the Vedic culture, there's such a sensitivity for people's hearts. There's a whole culture based around it. How to inspire everyone's hearts. That's the principle of Varnashram Dharma. Everyone, according to our place, our time, our situation, our nature, we're encouraged to bring the best out of each other. And such subtleties and how to have children, and how to be married, and how to have a family, and how to be a sadhu. Everything is very, very carefully organized through tradition. So Kamsa became the chariot driver for Devaki and Vasudeva. And as he's happily taking them to Vasudev's house, a voice spoke from the sky. Kamsa, you are a fool. The 8th child of Devaki will kill you. Don't clap. One little message, and Kamsa's whole mind was distorted. He went from a loving brother who just wanted to make his sister happy. As soon as there was a threat to his own sense gratification and well-being, he exploded with uncontrollable anger. He turned to Devaki, a young, sweet little girl who's his own cousin's sister. He grabbed her by the hair, drew his mighty sword, and was on the verge of severing her head. But Vasudeva, because during marriage, the husband vows to protect the wife. And out of love, natural, spontaneous love for Devaki, he came between Devaki and Kamsa. He was willing to put his life on the line to try to protect his beloved. And he began to speak, trying to convince Kamsa, don't do this. He said, Kamsa, you are very famous. You have such a high reputation.